Good morning. I'm so glad you're here to join me. And you can hear in my voice that I am dealing with a cold that my 3-year-old granddaughter gave me when I stayed with her when she couldn't go to school because she was sick, right? I've got snarls in my hair. I'm a mess. It's pretty funny. I'm a mess. And still coming to you because this is really important information we want to talk about today. Okay, so first and foremost, we're in a calm week, calmer than it has been, I should say. We're low level C's that have been dozen or so a day, just sort of hitting us on solar flares. Nothing that's sort of grabbing our attention. However, I will say that today is Sunday, the 3rd. And if we go back all the way to Monday, I would say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we were still dealing with the reverberation of those big X class solar flares the week before. And towards the end of the week, Friday, Saturday, the 6M class that hit. So, I think what we're doing is we're sort of recalibrating and we're sort of getting used to what's going on. So over the last year, I've been giving you a lot of um, awareness on how to track a solar flare, what a physical symptom is, what you can do to take care of yourself, right? And we looked at how to rank them. What is a C, an M, an X class? You can go back over the previous videos and we can look at that. We can look at we've looked at resources, and we've also looked at symptoms. And the symptoms one is still just moving through, gaining momentum as it goes along. So thank you so much if you've been watching that and passing it around. I really appreciate that. So today we're going to talk about the mental and emotional issues that come up with a solar flare, because they are tied into that what's happening physically on our earth, right? Makes sense. So number one, solar flares are energetic bursts that come from the sun onto our planet. And those energetic bursts affect our nervous system. They affect our heart regulation. They affect our cellular structure. They affect our DNA. So, and we've talked about this, much like what light therapy or sound therapy or anything else like that. It is actually helping our cells grow and change and morph. Okay, so that's the first thing. So, of course, we're going to feel tremendous changes going on in our body about these flares. Makes sense. Number two, you're not going crazy. Whatever you're feeling, whenever you have this sense of, oh, every part of my body aches, I have headaches, I can't sleep, I've got ringing in my ears. These are when the agitations, the aches and pains, the electrical pulsing through our systems is just driving us crazy. And we're not sleeping, we're exhausted, we have restlessness in our body, when we are sleeping, we're having vivid dreams, you name it, right? All of this is invisible, yet it's two things. It's felt in our body, right? And it's noticed by our brain. So it makes sense that what we want to talk about is what we notice in our brain, what we feel in our body, but we're really going to go what we feel in our body first, right? Number three, what we're experiencing is a lot of levels of unsettledness. And unsettled, whenever I don't know quite how I'm going to do this, I start with definitions, right? So, unsettled, according to the dictionary, like I looked up 6 different dictionary online to find out, is it's when things are not in a state of order. Makes sense? The order that you had stopped, right? That there's no determined direction or no determined goal or ability to make a choice because it's still moving, right? Things are subject to change. So when we're unsettled, there's things that we're subjected to change, right? It's irregular. It's not sound. There's something not predictable, not steady, not okay about this, right? We are worried, unable to relax. When we are unsettled, we can't relax because things are up in the air and they're not working, right? We're agitated mentally and emotionally. And that's right in the dictionary. You are agitated mentally and emotionally when you are unsettled. So go ahead and look up unsettled and see if anything else. Oh, and there's no other word, disturbed. There's like a disturbance in the field or in the force. Something's not right, right? So when we're feeling these things, these new patterns, and we're trying to put a construct on it, right? What happens is we feel these things and we're not settled and we don't like it. And then our head goes into what can I do? What's going on? What's wrong? And this it gets worse the more time we spend in our head looking at what do I have to do? What do I have to do? So we notice something, we feel something, and then our head goes into, oh no, this is not right. We have to do something. We have to move into control, um, into predictability, into a lot of think of the words. When you are unsettled, what is it that your mind wants? It wants something you can hold on to. So, for those of you, sorry, I'm going to be using tissues. That's all there is to it. I am teaching a tarot class, and one of the things that we worked on is that within the tarot, it goes fire at the first, which is that spark of imagination, and then it goes over to the emotional, to water. And then it's like we have these feelings, we have these expressions in our body, and they send out currents. And those are patterns and behaviors. And then what happens is it goes from water over to air. So it starts with water, it starts with feelings in our body, and then it goes over to air, which is what is that? How often is it happening? What causes it? And you put language and construct around it. So within the mental state in tarot cards, in the process of being human, we have emotions first, and then we bring in the mental construct, which is what is that? And then the fourth one is that we bring it down onto the earth and we embody it. We bring about physical changes, right? So the reason I'm saying that is that it's really important to understand that when our emotions are rocked, we go into the mental. It's not the other way around. All right. So, in order to take those emotions, and this is some of the stuff that I was looking at with the tarot. How do we start to settle? How do we start to trust that no matter what we do, we're going to be okay in this emotional? Now, and the other part is how do we settle our mind in the physical world, right? And I've used this card several times. It's like, how do you still it? And if you look around, you can see all of these vibrations and agitation going on. You can see the waves. They're really quite disturbing, and yet he's focused. Within the emotions, also, it's how do you tune it out and focus on what's in here and not let this bother you. But this is what we're going to talk about is how to become settled, how to feel settled, right? And so again, going to the dictionary, it's to resolve, to make a decision. Like, oh, this is what's going on. This is what I need to do. To establish residence, right? Or security, to establish it. Like, no matter what happens, I'm here. I'm going to stay in my body. I'm going to do this, is how I would translate that. Um, it is to make quiet and to make orderly, right? To make it quiet and to bring back order back, however you bring order in, right? However you bring order in is what you do. Arrange a desired position. Make sure that you switch things around and so that your emotions can feel calmer. You come to rest. To be settled is where you come to rest. And when we use settled in banking or in business deals, it's like we come to rest. We can agree on this, right? To adjust the differences until we feel calm and settled, right? So it just keeps going on. So when we learn how to settle, right? When we learn how to bring ourselves in, we give up the fight and we move into choices and agreements, which is this is what I'm going to choose to do, this is what I'm going to agree to do, this is what I know. So it takes us from here, right? Which is that mental distortion, which is I don't know what it is. I'm very unsettled into settled. I love these two images, right? Okay. So when we take care of our emotions, happens is we decide that calm is important. Calm is really important. In fact, it's the most important thing to my system is that I got to get to calm. And then we sort of open up and we adjust, like, how do I create more calm? How do I negotiate more calm in my body? I've got notes over here because my head's a little fuzzy right now. Um, Also, when we go into settled and we take care of our emotions, what happens is we prepare. We prepare and we take care of this physical body, right? So, I forgot to mention that at the beginning of this video on Sunday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, we were right straight in the middle of a geomagnetic storm. So something's bouncing us around just a little bit. It's really low, but it's constant and it's just going like this. And with clogged up head, it is a lot harder to concentrate, I'm noticing, and stay focused on what's in front of me. So forgive me, but I wanted to get this out. Okay. So, I have 7 tips for you today on how to shift, calm down the mental, calm down because we calm down the emotional, right? And so I would start by first doing that plug, which is I coach. I coach family systems, I coach parents, I coach individuals when we're dealing with what is invisible, what is unseen, what are the challenges, how do we make sense of something that we don't know? So we look at that in levels of sensitivity, empathic skills, energetically sensitive, children and adults. So that's sort of where I've been in the last 10 to 20 years. And now I'm taking it towards solar flare. So it's kind of fun to see what happens. Okay, let's go through the tips. Plug is over. Number one, do your own research, right? Explore, what's going on with the flares. Are they big? Are they small? When did they start? Go look and say, what year did they start? How often have they been? Look at the dates, because you can go onto spaceweather.com and you can look at the top 50 or the solar flares over the last year, and you can look at the patterns of when they go up and when they go down, and then start to make connections like, oh, that's when I lost my job, or that's when I decided to leave this relationship, or that's when my kids didn't want to be in school anymore. Like, we can start to make these associations where once the flare started, we go, oh, this plus this equals this. Okay, so do your own research. Go find out when the flares are and track them. Okay, that's number one. Number two, decide how you want to navigate when there is a flare that's big and impactful. So, what's your plan? What do you do for you? What does your child need? What does your partner need? What do you need? Like, focus on, oh, when that happens, this is going to be a normal part of this is the new normal, right? So when it goes up, this is what I'm going to do, and when it goes down, this is what I'm going to do. Not unlike living in Montana when we have snowstorms coming in. And so when there's a snowstorm coming, or when it's actually blizzarding outside, what happens is you just sort of go, hey, I'm not driving out there. I'm going to find something else to do here. I'm going to cancel my arrangements, my appointments, and I'm going to stay here. I'm not driving in that because you can't see, right? So you decide how you want to navigate and what your plan is. So number two is to have a plan. When the flares go up, what am I going to do? How am I going to take care of this emotional body that's nervous, that's scared, that feels like something's different, and I don't know if I'm dying or if I'm sick or if I'm crazy, right? Number three, prepare your home and your life for what you need during the flare. Makes a lot of sense. Like, for me, I have bottled water because I don't want anything that comes through a public water system because of the fluoride, right? So, how many bottles of water do I have? Do I have my supplements? Do I have food? Do I have Epsom salts? Do I have enough candles? Do I have memberships on music and movies and things that matter to me? Do I have enough minerals and electrolytes? Because those are going to be important. Do I have books to read? Do I have tea? Do I have cozy blankets? Is everything working so that if I want to retreat in, it's there? So you prepare for this. And again, living in Montana, I make sure I live in a place with a fireplace, that I have warm, cozy blankets, that I have a good stock of tea all the time, because sometimes I don't want to go out when it's -2 degrees, right? Okay, number four. Choose to recognize when the flares are big and impacting you, and choose to create ways to, this is like, it's one thing to say have a plan, it's another thing to go, oh, there's a big flare out there. I'm going to choose to cancel my appointments. I'm going to choose to stay home. I'm going to choose to not go out tonight and go to bed earlier because my head's throbbing and these things are not working. So you choose to create ways that create calm. So you're actually advocating for your emotional body first. Hey, what do you need? Do you need more rest? Do you need more nurturing? Do you need more calm? What is it that we can do, right? So you choose to create that calm when there's a disturbance. So the first one, of course, is to validate this is happening. The second one, right, is to prepare. The third one is to have a plan. This is what I'm going to do when. And the fourth one is actually to actually choose to use the plan, which when we're dealing with addiction, when we're dealing with adolescence, or when we're dealing with procrastination, this is one of those things that's really hard. I have to actually choose. I'm going to advocate. I'm going to go. Here I go. Right. Number five, apply the tools and skills that you have that we've been talking about to take care of yourself, is actually apply them. If you're having electricity going in your body, pour a whole bunch of real salt out of the US into your bath and get in. Not an Epsom salt bath, but real salt, because that will neutralize the electricity, right? So actually apply. Oh, when this happens, I know that I need this. My emotional body needs to be nurtured right now. And so, you do this with yourself, you do this with your kids, you do this with your partner. What you're doing is you're creating emotional security. And I'm looking for a card that might you actually become the boss of it, right? I'm going to surrender to this, and I'm going to create this security. I'm going to apply and use every tool that I know, and apply every skill to make this come into play, right? Number six, have a sense of humor and play with this, because our emotional body likes to play, right? Which is, oh wow, it's going up. What do we want to do today? So especially, like, I had a 3-year-old twice this week, and she couldn't go outside. She was sick, and it was like, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to play and make it an adventure? Something there was new to explore, something to create, something to adapt, something to enlist others, right? Because this calm is what we're trying to settle everything down and then ride it through, because it's going to get bumpier. We know this. It's been escalating. So we want to get our plan, we want to get our strategies, we want to get our tools in place, right? And then number seven, the last one, is to have compassion, have absolute deep compassion, because unsettledness is scary. When we are not settled, our mental mind cannot relax. It cannot trust the world very much. And there's a lot of people out there driving like this. Um, Yelling at each other in coffee shops. I've seen some behavior that I just go, oh wow, that person is so unsettled right now. They're really struggling with the flares, right? And so what happens is the emotions start, which is, I'm scared, and then the brain comes in, is like, why, yeah, and we have this fight going on constantly, and we look like this when we are unsettled and when we're triggered. So have compassion, because this might be you, this might be your partner, this might be your kids, this might be their people at work, this might be anything. Okay. So we have compassion, because compassion calms our emotions. So I hope that was helpful, and I hoped it was direct enough on a very ambiguous, like, emotional topic, right? Um, Please like and share this. Subscribe if you want to keep getting these once a week. And I've got some messages over here, and it's 3/3. It's the Empress 3 March 3rd. It's awesome. Um, all right, I will respond to these messages later. And you have a great day, and I'll see you next week. Bye.